thought that would get more of a laugh. No, Caitlin Stamper, I told my clinical group there was a patient that thought he was Darth Vader. And she made a joke that I could probably pull off looking like Emperor Palpatine. So you want to hold up that? That's what Caitlin thinks I look like. All right, I like her anyway. All right, first of all, I'm honored to be the keynote speaker. Sorry. I have no memory of the keynote speaker from my graduation, any of my graduations. There could have been words of wisdom that would have made my life so much easier, but just like probably a lot of them, they're going to be very distracted, and I'm hoping to make this memorable. I practiced it a little while ago, and it was 30 minutes, so I've been trying to do a little editing. So that's my first goal, that it's the speech that you won't forget, and that during your life when you need to have a smile or have some inspiration, you can look back at this speech and maybe it'll be on YouTube or whatever social media is around in the future, and you can relive these moments, these carefree moments that you're having right now. I want to dedicate this speech to my father before I go on. And I'll say a little more at the end, but he raised me with a lot of humor in the household. That's how we dealt with stress, and that's how I'm going to deal with the speech. So my second goal is to just share some of the wisdom from my life, not just from nursing, but from my life. And I've done a lot of that in my course. But I'm gonna put this. In my course, students will ask me sometimes, is the final going to be cumulative? And I always say, I don't teach you anything in this course that you're allowed to forget. I do the best that I can to teach you everything you need about psychiatric nursing for your entire career. So you don't have permission to forget what I teach you until your retirement party. Some of the humor I'm going to use, only the students will get it. So my apologies if sometimes you feel on the outside of some inside jokes. They're very excited. I said I was going to do this as a roast, sort of. It's not going to be a mean roast, don't worry. It's not going to be, it might be a little mean, but not too mean. Anyway, if you don't get some of the humor, my apologies, but they'll fill you in on the way home, and you'll be laughing your butts off. All right, I want to thank the class of Nursing 2025 for giving me this opportunity. Class of 2025, the best nursing class we've ever had. Or at least since last year. I did mention this as a roast. Or until next year. Any class of 2026 in the house? Jury's still out on you guys. All right, I first met the class of 2025 on a sunny August Monday in 2023. I was asked to speak to them as mentor. I don't teach in the first semester course. I was asked to speak to them about what I offer as the mentor for the program. When I went there, I looked at them, and they were exhausted and overwhelmed. They had just got 6 hours of orientation from Professors C.J. Price and Dr. Lindblom and Dr. Redlow, and they did not look like they tolerate more information. And so what I did with them, I dimmed the lights, And I did a success visualization. I had them imagine all of the challenges that I saw them, that I saw they were going to go through in nursing school. Some of the times when they felt like they were a success, some of the probably more times when they felt like they were a failure. Some of the highs, the lows. I told them, look around, these people, they're strangers, but they're gonna be the closest people in your life these next 2 years. They're gonna be like a second family to you. And I think you guys saw that was true. Just how they begged to be together on their clinical rotations. So I ended that visualization with them imagining sitting on the stage during pinning. And so here you are. You successfully achieved that visualization. Some of you don't look like you remember. It was a long day. It was the end of a long day for them. It might be just my own narcissism that made a difference to them. I did have one student tell me it did, but that's only one student. All right. So when we say they're going to be close together, a new term I've heard from the class of 2026, trauma bonded. They think we traumatize them. We're teaching them a new profession. Nurses can be whiners, nursing students as well. All right, so just a few things the nursing class of 2025 taught me. It's not just us teaching them, it's them teaching us sometimes. I learned that chicken pot pie is a perfect food. It has carbohydrates, it has protein. This is one of those inside jokes, I'm sorry. It has vegetables, it has meat. It has electrolytes, has all those necessary preservatives we need to be preserved to live a long life. Nature's perfect food. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration, if such an organization still exists. I learned that Quizlet is the name of the Greek goddess of test answers. I learned that artificial intelligence is more artificial and less intelligence. I learned that Caitlin Stamper, her mother is one of the top labor and delivery nurses at Alta Bates. Sandy Long, are you here tonight? Sandy Long? Sandy, you did a great job on all of Caitlin's homework all these years. All right, so the real thing students tell me about my lectures, the reason why they're popular, is that I share stories of real patients and then tie them into the lesson that I'm trying to teach them. And so the real stars of my lectures are my patients, my former patients. So I've invited several of them to be here tonight. So stand up if you're comfortable and be acknowledged. The karate teacher. No? The teenage girl who felt a tinkling sensation around her tailbone and thought she was growing a tail. Are you here? The woman who thought she could make herself invisible and would take off all her clothes to try to escape. No?
Can't see her. She's here.
The man who insisted he was pregnant. Everybody's shy, I guess. Will the real Slim Shady please stand up? Sorry, I always wanted to say that. I'm a long time Eminem fan. And last but not least, the patient with borderline personality disorder who was a real hothead. You guys wouldn't get it, they should be laughing. Those of you that gave me permission to use your name, David Carter, Sharon Cole, Lena Chin. Lena? Sorry, those are not real patients, but. Okay. I don't think I know that one. I must confess, I didn't really invite former psychiatric patients here, but I can tell you, some of you looked around at each other, trying to think of what, probably looking at Professor Price. Still, these jokes really killed when I was. And I'm sure there are actually people here that have required psychiatric services. And I just have to say to those people, don't stand up. But I don't know if I said, I'm the psychiatric nursing person. I work in psychiatric nursing 30 years. And I have great respect for psychiatric patients and people that have psychiatric conditions. It takes a lot of courage to get care and a lot of strength, and I have great admiration for you. You are no different from us. In fact, you are us, and we are you. That one wasn't a joke. All right, let me tell you a story. A little girl's father tells her, "Sit down, we need to have a serious talk." She says, "Yes, Daddy." Her father says, "You need to understand a certain reality about yourself. You are a silly girl, and you will always be a silly girl." The little girl is taken aback. "What do you mean, Daddy? Is there something wrong with me?" The father says, "Not really, you're just silly. And you will always be silly. But you're very smart, and people will still love you, but they're always going to know that you're silly." So the little girl sits down, her eyes are downcast, she's processing this information. Suddenly she stands up and says, "If I have to be a silly girl, I'm going to be the greatest silly girl who ever lived." And that little girl was successful. Ladies and gentlemen, that little girl grew up to be the 2025 class president of the nursing program, Megan Turner. And for that, the moment you've been waiting for, the roasting is beginning. This makes me nervous. I do know that Megan is a gun owner. Megan, are you packing heat tonight? You're not strapped? Also, her husband is a police officer, Donovan, who I met earlier tonight. Very nice guy. Am I going to be pulled over multiple times on the way home tonight? Actually, Megan is not silly. Maybe a little. But she has fun, she has a great sense of humor. She's been a real leader in her role as class president, advocating for you behind the scenes many times. She says maybe mostly texting me to advocate for her because she's a little afraid of Jackie Wright. I don't know why. She truly cares for all of you. And she even told me who could take a joke and who she thought maybe couldn't take a joke for this speech. So So she helped me with this speech. So Imoltai. I first saw Emil standing next to Apple Samara. Both had long flowing locks of dark hair. I thought, are they twins? I thought, oh, Emil. It's short for Emily? Again, that killed in practice. So I'm just kidding. Emil was a real man. Emil has 4 kids. Ow! 4 kids. I can't even manage 2 cats. I have another joke about Emil, but it's a little dirty. And I'm looking at the president. And I think I'll tell him that one privately later on. Emil's a great guy. He's going to be a great nurse. He's got a real healing quality about him. And patients are going to love him. The aforementioned Apple Joy Samara. I heard she was nervous about me roasting her. So. Apple went home from the first day of nursing school and told her husband, nursing school is too easy. I think I want to do it while I'm pregnant. So for the last 4 months of her pregnancy, she was in our maternity course, learning everything that could go wrong with a pregnancy as she was pregnant. That can't be easy. Shortly after the end of the semester, she gave birth to little Florence Nightingale Samara, which was bad because it was a boy. I'm just kidding, it was a girl, and her name is Palisade, and they call her Sadie. Let's hear it for Sadie. Sadie, if years from now you're watching this recording, your mom went through a lot to secure your future and your family's future, and I hope you're very proud of her. We all know that stress hormones when you're pregnant are tough on a baby, so you can blame all your problems on your mother, like we all do. But actually, Apple controlled her stress by declining to study. I'm just kidding. For now, little Sadie, you're probably out there. I think I may have heard you screaming a minute ago. I just want to ask you to hold down the screaming. You guys have probably noticed that babies can just be the rudest people. It's all about them. Claire Sangpanya. Claire lifts weights to manage her stress during nursing school. And after 2 years, Claire is now bench pressing 500 pounds. Let's hear it for Claire. Not really, but she is a very strong student in many ways. Manisha Kuwar. We don't officially recognize a class valedictorian in the nursing program, but to my knowledge, Manisha scored the high score in every course. Her clinical skills were also beyond reproach. She might be a 99% perfect student, but nobody is perfect. While trying to turn on the light in the patient's room, she accidentally triggered a code blue, causing doctors and nurses to run to the room expecting a medical emergency, only to find Manisha there saying, "Sorry, I was trying to turn on the light." Manisha is so kind that she didn't correct me on how to pronounce her name until a few months ago. It is Manisha, not Manisha. It is Kuwar, not Kunwar. I'm sure I'm probably the only one that knows that. Rachel Arechi. Rachel's middle name, or maiden name, is Hines. I bet many of you didn't know that either. Rachel Hines. Sometimes Rachel would fall behind in a course, but she would always, anyone? She would always catch up. Rachel is very quiet, and she's never been known to curse. In fact, when she gets upset, she'll say, "Shh, heck, or darn," and then she'll apologize. And then we have Ryan Ikuda. Ryan Ikuda. Ryan is also a top student, but sometimes he appears frustrated by us mere mortals. Hey, you would be frustrated too if your entire vocabulary consisted only of four-letter words. Ryan looked disappointed in me when he saw me wearing figs. I've never heard Ryan say the word figs without another four-letter F word preceding it. Ryan, that's right. You need to embrace the fig life, Ryan. These are, for those of you that are not nurses, these are fancy scrubs. They cost twice as much, but they're really nice. So Ryan, it's okay to be beautiful. It's okay to wear the fancy pajamas. I believe Ryan is next to speak. He's been told he has to keep it clean. Should be interesting. Evelyn Salinas Valdez. In my course, Evelyn made an unusual request. In my lecture on phobias, on the PowerPoint I include, when I'm speaking of phobias to clowns, an image of a character from a 1980s movie called Pennywise. Evelyn shared with me her older brother doing a classic older brother joke. Her older brother, William, is William here? William. He doesn't want to admit it until he hears what I say. He did a classic older brother move. He put her when she was 4 years old, he put her in a dark room and told her, "Oh, this is a fun movie about clowns." So she wanted me to create an entire PowerPoint of the lecture just without that image. So I did. She tells me that despite making her afraid of clowns for the rest of her life, that William has actually been an excellent older brother. Alexander Rahman. Curly Alex. I don't know why they call him that, dude. Curly Alex. Alex likes to say brilliant. He says brilliant a lot. But Alex is quite brilliant. Alex is our student tutor for the first year nursing students this past year. In fact, a first year nursing student told me in person just how great Alex has helped him how to study, how to read, how to take notes. Yeah, brilliant. And then that student dropped out the next week. But I'm sure it's because he went to Alex a little too late. So anyway, Alex, I want to say it's been brilliant having you. All right. Ana Isa Rojas Meja. The glare from her teeth is blinding me. I'm going to have to readjust my eyes. She has amazingly white teeth. Isa generously took a break from filming her toothpaste commercials to be here tonight. Isa, you're an excellent student and you were a real pleasure to work with. I still am going to see you for glasses eventually. That's more of an insult joke. Areli Lopez. No, I didn't stutter. I don't really have a joke for Areli's too sweet and she's a little nervous. But I can tell you when I first met Areli, she was in the class that we give to LVNs to prepare them to enter the LVN to RN program. And she overheard me telling a teacher that I was going to visit my father who had COVID and was in a skilled nursing facility, and I thought he might die that day. This was a day last August. And he didn't look good. He was in the skilled nursing facility. He was in this terrible looking yellow gown. Didn't look like the last thing he wanted to be wearing in his life. But Areli said she would pray for him. That she looked very sincere. So I said that's great. Please do that. And I thought to myself, that's not gonna work. I'm a man of science. I don't believe in such things, right? Can I say that in the church? But my dad soon recovered, and now he's struggling again for his life. He's on hospice, and I was told yesterday that he might not survive through now. But I appreciate the thought. I appreciate if it did help. She's given me a gift of having my father for 7 or 8 more months. And just because I can't, well, let me go back a second. One of the things about gaining wisdom later in your life is the thing you learn the most is that you know less than you thought about the world. You don't really know how the world works. You may have all the degrees in the world. You might have more degrees than a thermometer, but you still don't really know. And one of the things I feel is that even if you can't see it, touch it, or hear it, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. All right, how am I doing on time? All right, Henri H. Keelan.
30 minutes.
I recruited H to our LVN RN program after seeing him being the main man in charge of keeping the psychiatric emergency room safe. Stand up, H, if you don't mind. H can just look at a patient and suddenly they decide to behave. Those are some unique therapeutic communication skills. Christopher Short, where are you? Stand up, Christopher. Christopher doesn't work in psych, but I believe he could develop some of those same therapeutic communication skills. And Not because he's big, but because he expressed an interest. You guys. So I've seen H, not just because he's big, but he has empathy and compassion, and doesn't, as big as he is, he's giving me a look, but he doesn't try to intimidate the patients. Well, he probably doesn't have to give him a look. But he's real caring, he's really gentle with these patients that are really vulnerable people. And so I was very impressed, and I wanted him to be part of our program. All right. A lot of my jokes have fallen flat tonight, but I'm going to try one more. On a serious note, I have to address something while I have you all here. Honesty and integrity are vitally important in nursing. And so what I want to know, what I need to know, is who ate the chicken pot pie? Last September, a clinical instructor's dinner came up missing from the staff refrigerator. It's no laughing matter. A crime was committed. A commandment was broken. Aaron, on the night of September 17th, 2024, what did you have for dinner? Are you sure it wasn't chicken pot pie? Stella, on the night of September 17th, 2024, what did you have for dinner? Charlene. Charlene had a special, what do they call it, a motive. Charlene had a motive. Charlene, she knows what I'm referring to, and I just want to say you handled that situation with a lot of class, and I admire you so much. Yeah, still didn't get the laugh I was expecting. All right, so something a little bit serious. Can I have someone dim the lights a little bit? I had some class of 2026, they've lost focus. I'm losing. So I want to end with you. I know you're going to see me in the future, maybe in a job search class, if you're interested in getting a job. But this is really the last time I'll be here in your life in the role of Professor Wheeler. In fact, most of you have started calling me Wheeler. Already. Getting a little informal. What I want to do is a little success visualization for your nursing career. The one previously you started out in that classroom, room AA 239, on a beautiful fall day, a beautiful day like today. And I had you visualize being successful in nursing school and some of the challenges. So now you think you've done something big here, and you have, significant. Not everybody in that room is here today. But what I want is to use your imagination again for some time travel into the future. Now I know there's a lot going on this week, and some of you already are a little worried about the NCLEX, getting a job. Let me back up just a second. Let me have you just just like on that day, although it seems like most of you don't remember. Take a deep breath. Maybe close your eyes a little bit. You can do that too in the audience, although it's not going to apply to you. And just feel the chair supporting you. Any noises you hear, they just make you more and more relaxed and more focused. Even if a child yells out or a baby cries, it just makes you more and more relaxed. Take a deep breath. Now your journey has been, through nursing school, has been fairly similar, but it's about to go in all different directions. Some of you will get into new grad programs at major hospitals, but most of you will not. That wasn't a joke.
Reality.
Most of you, you're going to need to work a little harder. You're going to have to hustle a little bit. You're going to have to work in some clinics, my wife work in dialysis. She might work in outpatient GI surgery and give me my next colonoscopy. You might work in different settings. Eventually, you will get a chance to work in acute care if that's really your goal. But it's never easy. Just nursing in this area, we have a nursing shortage in the country, but in this area, because it pays a lot and everybody wants to live here, it's not as easy as in other areas. If you don't have roots, you might, go to some little hick town in Northern California and get work in acute care there. Eventually, you'll get a chance. There's no shame in working in other places as an RN. Life is when you'll get a chance to make money. It's not gonna hold you back. This field, it pays. But money's not gonna be everything. You're gonna wanna find a place where you fit in, something that you enjoy, and something that you can see yourself doing for years. One of the things that you'll experience when you leave here, these close relationships you have in nursing school, some of those are going to drift apart. And that's okay. Some of them you will keep. In your nursing career, you can expect to see people at the lowest moment of their life. You're going to see pain that you could never imagine. And when you go home at night and you're trying to fall asleep, that's not going to go away. But eventually you will learn to sleep. You'll also see people in some of the happiest moments of their life. If you work in labor and delivery, you'll see the miracle of birth. You'll also see some terrifying things when that goes wrong. In psychiatry, you'll save lives. You'll save people that were hopeless, that had no reason to want to wake up another day, that have made serious attempts to end their life. And after a couple days on your unit, they're turned around. But you'll also have patients that you poured yourself into that do go out and kill themselves. And so, this speech has been a little light. I don't want to make it super heavy, but those should be some of the things you expect. That's what you signed up for, whether you knew it or not. The outside world will still be the outside world. You'll have bad things in your life as well. You'll have good things. You'll get married. Some of you will get divorced. You'll lose things. You'll lose people. Like I'm about to lose my father. And this is just the life we live, and we make the best of it. What you'll eventually do, you'll learn, first of all, that your nurse manager has no idea what you do. You'll get an evaluation one time that will make you sound like the best nurse in the world. And you'll think, wow, this lady's smart. Or this man's smart. Then you'll get an evaluation from another manager that doesn't see any of your strengths. And what you want to do going forward is your self-worth is not based on anybody else's opinion of you. You have these skills, you go forward, and you don't get too high when you're praised, you don't get too low when you're criticized. You develop yourself, you know who you are, and you always give your patients your best. So eventually, you'll get to the end of your career. You can see yourself sitting around with your coworkers that are you're kind of like your new clinical group. You've gone through a lot with them. And they're throwing you a retirement party. Somebody's going to yell my punchline. And that's when you're allowed to forget what I taught you. All right, thank you, everybody.